A trained police dog wouldn't stop barking at a rock. His handler tried everything to pull him away, but the canine refused to move. What they discovered beneath that rock wasn't just shocking. It would restore everyone's faith in humanity. Stay until the end, because the twist will leave you in tears. Before we dive into this incredible story, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss these amazing real-life stories. And drop a comment below telling us about a time an animal's instinct saved the day. Now, let's get into it. It was a crisp autumn morning in the small town of Millbrook, nestled in the Appalachian Mountains. Officer Mitchell Scott had been patrolling these mountain trails for 5 years, but nothing could have prepared her for what was about to unfold. Mitchell wasn't alone on her patrol. By her side, as always, was her loyal partner, a 4-year-old German Shepherd named Max. Max wasn't just any dog. He was a specially trained canine officer with an impeccable track record. He'd helped locate missing hikers, sniffed out hidden evidence, and even saved Mitchell's life once when a suspect tried to ambush her during a drug bust. On this particular morning, they were conducting a routine sweep of Miller's Ridge, a popular hiking trail that wound through dense forest and rocky terrain. The fall foliage painted the mountainside in brilliant oranges and golds, and the morning sun filtered through the trees in golden shafts. Everything seemed perfectly normal. Around 9:30 a.m., about 2 miles into their patrol, Max suddenly stopped dead in his tracks. His ears perked up, his body went rigid. And before Mitchell could even process what was happening, he took off running. "Max, heel!" Mitchell called out, but Max didn't respond. This was completely out of character. Max had never disobeyed a direct command before. Mitchell ran after him, her heart pounding. Had he caught the scent of something dangerous? Was there an injured hiker nearby? Max led her off the main trail, crashing through underbrush and leaping over fallen logs. Finally, he stopped at what appeared to be a large, moss-covered boulder partially embedded in the hillside. And then he started barking. But this wasn't his alert bark or his warning bark. This was something Mitchell had never heard before. A desperate, almost frantic sound that sent chills down her spine. "Max, what is it, boy? What did you find?" Mitchell approached the rock cautiously, scanning the area for any signs of danger. The boulder was about 6 feet across, covered in thick moss and surrounded by smaller rocks and earth. There was nothing obviously unusual about it. No visible openings, no blood, no signs of struggle. But Max wouldn't stop. He barked and barked, pawing at the ground near the base of the rock, his tail rigid, every muscle in his body tense. Mitchell tried to call him away. "Max, come. Let's go, boy." Max ignored her completely. He dug at the earth, whimpering between barks, looking back at her as if to say, "Why aren't you helping me?" Mitchell had been a canine handler long enough to know one thing for certain. When a trained dog acts this way, you listen. She radioed for backup. "Dispatch, this is Unit 12. I need additional units at my location on Miller's Ridge, approximately 2 miles north of the main trailhead. My K9 has alerted to something, and I need assistance to investigate." While waiting for backup, Mitchell knelt beside Max and started examining the area more carefully. She noticed something odd. There was a slight depression in the earth near the base of the boulder, and when she pressed her ear to the ground, she could have sworn she heard something. A faint sound, almost like crying? Officer Jake Morrison and Officer Tom Bradley arrived 15 minutes later, along with emergency equipment. By this time, Max had been barking for nearly 20 minutes straight, and his paws were bleeding from digging at the rocky ground. "Mitchell, what's going on?" Jake asked, approaching with caution. "I think there's something under this rock," Mitchell said, her voice tight with urgency. "Max won't leave, and I swear I can hear something." The 3 officers put their ears to the ground. There it was again, a weak, muffled sound. "Oh my God," Tom whispered. "There's someone under there." The team immediately called for search and rescue, heavy equipment, and paramedics. But they couldn't wait. Every second could mean the difference between life and death. The officers began carefully moving smaller rocks and digging around the boulder. Max supervised every move, his barking never ceasing, as if urging them to move faster. As they dug deeper, they discovered something heartbreaking. There was a collapsed section of earth beneath the boulder, creating a small cavity, and wedged in that cavity was a child. "We've got a victim! Child, approximately 6 to 8 years old, trapped under debris!" Tom shouted into his radio. The little girl was barely conscious, covered in dirt, her face pale and streaked with tears. She'd been crying, but her voice had grown so weak that her calls for help were almost inaudible. Mitchell's hands trembled as she carefully cleared dirt and small rocks from around the child's face. "Hey, sweetheart, can you hear me? We're going to get you out. You're safe now." The girl's eyes fluttered open. My dog," she whispered. "Your dog found you, honey. What's your name?" "Emma. I'm Emma." The rescue team arrived with hydraulic equipment and carefully began lifting the boulder. It was a painstaking process. One wrong move could cause the entire section to collapse further. Max never left. He lay down near the opening, whimpering softly, as if reassuring Emma that help was here. After 45 minutes of careful, agonizing work, they had created enough space to pull Emma free. Paramedics immediately took over, checking her vitals, starting an IV, wrapping her in warming blankets. She had been trapped for nearly 18 hours. As Emma was being treated, the pieces of the story came together. She had been hiking with her grandfather the previous afternoon when she wandered off the trail, chasing after what she thought was a rabbit. She'd climbed on the rocks, and a section of the unstable hillside gave way beneath her. Her grandfather had searched frantically and reported her missing, triggering a massive search operation that had gone through the night. But they'd been searching in the wrong area, miles away from where Emma actually was. She'd been trapped in that dark, terrifying space for almost a full day, able to hear search helicopters overhead, but unable to make herself heard. She'd given up hope, until Max found her. At the hospital, Emma was diagnosed with dehydration, hypothermia, and a broken arm, but doctors said she would make a full recovery. The prognosis was nothing short of miraculous. When Mitchell visited Emma's hospital room the next day, the little girl's face lit up. "Is Max here? Can I see him?" Mitchell smiled, tears welling in her eyes. "He's outside. They don't usually allow dogs in the hospital, but I think we can make an exception for a hero." When Max walked into that room, Emma burst into tears. The trained police dog, who was always so serious and professional on duty, gently placed his head on her bed, his tail wagging softly. Emma wrapped her good arm around his neck and whispered, "Thank you for finding me. You saved my life." But Mitchell knew the truth was even more beautiful than that. You see, Mitchell hadn't told Emma everything yet, because there was one more piece to this story that made it even more extraordinary. Mitchell Scott hadn't always been a police officer. 7 years earlier, she'd been a different person living a different life. She'd been struggling with depression, feeling lost and purposeless, barely holding on. One night, standing on a bridge, she'd been ready to give up. But a stranger, an elderly man walking his dog, had stopped to talk to her. He didn't lecture her or judge her. He just talked about his granddaughter, about hope, about how every life touches others in ways we can't imagine. That conversation saved Mitchell's life. It gave her the strength to seek help, to heal, to eventually find purpose in serving her community. She never got that man's name. She never saw him again, until the day Emma was rescued, when Emma's grandfather arrived at the scene. Mitchell recognized him immediately. Older, grayer, but unmistakable. The man who had saved her life 7 years ago. When she approached him, he didn't recognize her at first, but when she told him who she was, When she explained that she was the broken young woman on the bridge all those years ago, tears streamed down both their faces. "You saved my life," Mitchell told him. "And now I got to help save your granddaughter's life. Everything comes full circle." The local community held a ceremony honoring Max's incredible rescue. He received a special commendation and a new badge. But for Mitchell, the real honor was getting to witness the power of compassion rippling forward through time. One conversation on a bridge had saved her life. That led her to become a police officer. That led her to become a canine handler. That led her to Max. And Max's extraordinary instincts led him to Emma. One act of kindness had created a chain reaction that saved multiple lives. Emma and her grandfather became close friends with Mitchell and Max. Emma, inspired by her rescue, announced that when she grows up, she wants to be a canine officer too, just like Mitchell. As for Max, he went back to his regular patrols, ever watchful, ever alert. But Mitchell noticed something different about him after that day. When they passed children on the trails, he'd always pause to let them pet him, his tail wagging gently, as if he understood he wasn't just a police dog. He was a guardian angel in fur. This incredible true story reminds us that heroes come in all forms, sometimes on four legs, sometimes in unexpected moments of kindness. We never know how our smallest acts of compassion might save a life or change the world. If this story touched your heart, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Subscribe for more incredible true stories of hope, heroism, and humanity. And remember, be someone's hero today. You never know whose life you might save. Until next time, stay kind, stay hopeful, and keep believing in miracles.